It looks like the Marvel movie collection by Hero Collector and Eagle Moss Collections has come to an end after years of collecting. Let's break down absolutely everything that's in it in an updated who, what and huh of the Marvel movie collection. Hello everyone, MMC Fan here. Welcome to an updated version of one of my most popular videos going through the Marvel movie collection in its entirety. The last time I did this, the last few figures, they were still unknown, we weren't sure what they were going to be, so now is a great time to do a definitive version with, at the time of posting, no gaps whatsoever. This is literally everything that you can get within this collection. Just quickly, the images used in this video are often shared all over the internet, but they originate with me and my Marvel Movie Collection fans Facebook page. I'll put the link in the description. If you head there and click on the photo album, The Collection, you can see real-time updated images of this entire series, just in case anything new arrives after posting this video, but it's looking like it won't. Let's jump right in. So the collection started off initially in the UK and France in 2016. It kicked off in terms of films with Iron Man all the way through to Ant-Man with the exception of the Incredible Hulk, and then the Phase 3 films were added as each one came out. Issues 1 to 10 followed the main characters and villains, and there was no repeats here, and these were all made with very high production numbers. So we had Iron Man, Black Widow, Captain America, Thor, Loki, Nick Fury, Star-Lord, Red Skull, Drax and the Winter Soldier, all very prominent characters in the Marvel Universe. And then by issue 12 or so, they started to appear in newsagents in much fewer numbers, and at this point they started exploring some more secondary characters. So we got War Machine, obviously very prominent, but then we got Lady Sif, Ultron, Malekith from Thor the Dark World, and then some main characters, Ant-Man and Gamora. We then had our first repeated character, which was Captain America, and it turns out there was going to be lots of repeats after him. And then the Mandarin, Yellow Jacket and Scarlet Witch. So only one repeat in the first 20. And then as the collection turned a year old, they added tons more new characters, with just Iron Patriot being a repeat here. Prominently, obviously, we've got Hawkeye for the first time, as well as Nebula and Black Panther, but also some more secondary characters like Agent Coulson, the Chitauri Warrior, Maria Hill, Heimdall, Odin, and Ronan from Guardians of the Galaxy. Doctor Strange arrived at issue 32, and this one has consistently been voted the best figure in the entire collection. It's now very hard to find. Even after 140 issues, everyone's still voting for Doctor Strange. And from issue 36 onwards, they start to rely on a few more repeats in minor characters. So we had a repeat of Iron Man, a repeat of, Hulk, Bruce Banner. Technically not quite a repeat, but you get the idea. Black Widow, another Black Widow. And then we also had some more minor characters, Nova Corps, Howard Stark, and Korath. Korath is a brilliant figure, by the way. And then, of course, we also had some very prominent ones which we were missing, which were Agent Carter, Vision, and Quicksilver. With issue 41 to 50, this marked when they started to become quite hard to find in smaller newsagents I found in the UK, and with issue 48 the price increased for the first time, so up until this point they were $12.99 each, and they go up to $13.99 from the ancient one onwards. More new characters here than the previous lot of 10 though, which was nice to see. So we had Curse, which is awesome, an awesome figure even though it's not a character many people know, Mordo from Doctor Strange, Dum Dum Dugan, Falcon, Captain America from World War II, that was the only repeat here, Aldrich Killian, Yondu, Ancient One, Crossbones, and a Dark Elf. And then this is where we had kind of our first slump, in my opinion, and this is when many people left the collection. Lots of unpopular figures here, like the Exo Soldier, the Hydra Exo Soldier from Age of Ultron, and then the regular Hydra Soldier from the first Avenger, and putting Volstagg, Fandral, and Hogan so close together as well. If people weren't keen on the Warriors 3, then that was a bit of a sticky issue, and Taserface as well wasn't hugely well received, and neither was Aisha. But Ego, Scourge, and Thor here, very good figures. And that was our first repeat of Thor as well, at issue 59. The slump continued into the next lot a little bit, so we had a repeat of Bucky from the first Avenger, which we didn't really need, and we had another War Machine from Civil War, which we didn't really need, but other than that, this kind of picked up a little bit here. So we had the Grandmaster, Wong, our first Tony Stark in the racing suit from Iron Man 2, that was really cool, the first Iron Man armor, which is obviously iconic, Mantis, Frigga, Hela, and Loki, and Hela is one of the best in the collection as well. Which brings us on to 71 to 80, which is originally going to be the final 10 in the collection before the extension was announced. These were all really strong additions, aside from Valkyrie, which was very poorly received because they made a lot of weird decisions with that one, and having Killmonger twice so close together felt odd as well, but they are really good figures. Caecilius was great, Nebula was much improved, Corvus Glaive is great, the Captain America was pretty sweet, Okoye, Ghost, and a nice T'Challa at 80 to round off the first set of figurines. And then we hit the extension. So we started off with Kraglin and Zola, which were kind of odd ones to start with, and they were okay, they weren't amazing. But then after that, it really picked up. So we had Shuri, Teen Groot, the Wasp, M'Baku, Proxima Midnight. Iron Spider was a huge deal because it didn't look like they were allowed to include any Spider-Man characters at all because of the rights issues with Sony, but they were allowed to use the Iron Spider suit as that's owned by Disney, so it was great that it appeared at issue 88. And if you're collecting one of the new versions of the collection that are popping up in Europe that are done by D'Agostini, they'll put Iron Spider right near the beginning because it is a really, really good figurine that a lot of people wanted. And then at 89 we had a Scarlet Witch with a bit of an iffy likeness, and then Ebony Maw as another member of the Black Order. And then as we get closer to 100, this is when repeats started overtaking new characters, and that really hasn't changed since. So the only new characters here are Ulysses Klaue, Zuri, and Captain Marvel, which of course were, Captain Marvel in particular was highly sought after, but the rest are all repeats. They're really popular suits, don't get me wrong. So we had Iron Man from Infinity War, Star-Lord, Thor from Infinity War, Bucky from Infinity War, Nick Fury from Captain Marvel, and then Black Widow from Infinity War, and then as the landmark 100th issue, it was Iron Man 3, the Mark 42 armour. So they were some very, very good figures, but they were all repeats, one after the other. And then we hit Captain Marvel Endgame Land, which aside from the occasional surprise choice like Nakia, Janet Van Dyne and Wakabi, we focused on the same two films for a very long time. A lot of the Endgame ones were really awesome and sold really well. The Captain Marvel ones, not so much. And this is also where the next price increase came in with issue 107 from $13.99 to $14.99. But in terms of the Captain Marvel and Endgame ones, we had Talos, Ronin, Yon-Rogg, Iron Man in his team suit, we would later get a few more of those, Thor from Endgame, Captain America from Endgame, and then Captain Marvel again, but in her Kree suit. And now we start to hit, in my opinion, the second major slump in the collection. So with Eagle Moss not being able to cover Far From Home and Phase 4 getting delayed due to COVID, the duplicates just came thick and fast with another Ant-Man, another War Machine, Minerva was new, that was cool, another Gamora, Goose, which really shouldn't have been its own figure but was still very nice, another Iron Man repeat, which was really cool, but again, we've had a lot of Iron Man by this point. Maria Rambeau was new, Agent Keller is kind of a Talos repeat, really, a repeat of Korath, and then a repeat of Rocket Raccoon, but this was the first time that Rocket appeared in the collection, not as a bonus edition, which we'll get to later, so that was pretty cool. And that, in theory, was going to be the end, but then it was extended again another time for an additional 20 issues, and this would be the last extension, and it's not very hard to see why. So things got really messy here. Tons of repeated characters. In fact, all of these are repeats with the exception of the Outrider figure, which is very, very cool. And there were production errors, which meant that issues 126 through to 129 all got released out of order. And in other countries, they had to switch the numbering up, and there was issues with people ordering one number and getting sent another one. There was also another price increase from $14.99 to $15.99, which was supposed to start with issue 129, but then it sort of came in earlier because the numbers got switched up, so then 126 ended up costing that as well. It was all a complete mess. I mean, of these, Ultron Mark 1 and Captain Marvel from Endgame, the Hawkeye one and Outrider are all really cool, but the rest weren't really needed. There was Captain America in a team suit and another Valkyrie, which improved on the old one, but again, wasn't an amazing decision. Doctor Strange without any powers was terrible. That Black Widow had an awful likeness. Bro Thor was pretty cool, but they got the colour of the glove wrong. And then a repeat of Drax was not needed at all. They've just changed his trousers. And then we hit, believe it or not, the final 10, and the choices got even worse, with only 2 new characters, with Atlas and Bill Foster, both very minor characters, and then completely rubbish choices for the rest. Only the Black Panther and the Nebula figures here are even worth buying, in my opinion, but they also did Phasing Ghost, which used the same pose from the last one. Human Vision, which was neither here nor there, no one wanted that. Another Tony Stark from Infinity War, another Loki, another Agent Coulson, this time from the 90s, and then they ended the collection, the final issue, after all these years of collecting, with just another Star-Lord in his yellow prison outfit, which I know a lot of people aren't keen on and haven't bought. So that's a really unfortunate end to an otherwise very good collection. We also have special editions, of course. These used to come out every 8 issues or so, but this quickly became whenever they felt like it. We went from 2 or 3 a year to 4 or 5 a year when Ragnarok and Infinity War kicked in, and then it died completely down and they stopped doing them. So we had the Incredible Hulk, the Hulkbuster armor, Groot, Thanos, the Destroyer, Whiplash Mark II, Giant Man, and Ironmonger. And then when Ragnarok, Endgame and Infinity War hit, that's pretty much all they focused on in terms of specials. So we had Gladiator Hulk, which is now really rare because that one arrived broken more often than not, Korg, Thanos, Hulkbuster 2.0, Cull Obsidian, which is another rare one, very, very highly sought after, Surtur, a Hulk from Endgame and Thanos from Endgame. And as I say, these then slowed right down with the superb E-Tree figure from Infinity War rounding off 2020, and then no further specials were released, even though others like Laufey from Thor, they were designed but they didn't release anymore. But of course we also have bonus editions, so sometimes this is where it gets a little bit confusing. So we had an alternative pose for Hulk, which only came as a 1/16 scale figure in France, and then subsequently any D'Agostini releases in Europe, so in Spain, the new one in Italy and Hungary, they're getting that pose as well. The first version of Rocket, which was a free gift for anyone that subscribed at the very beginning, and he occasionally appears on the web shop as well. And then the premium armors. Now these were originally sent out every 16 issues or so, but once again this just became whenever they felt like it, and they really missed the last few. They were very, very late, and they have all been handled completely differently in terms of web shop. So the first 3 are readily available online. Then Star Boost was put on the UK web shop, then removed after a few hours and never added again. Prototype and Sneaky never got released online. Igor got a web shop release with the wrong image, and then they corrected the image, and then it was in stock for a few months, which was quite surprising, and now it's gone forever. Silver Centurion was in stock for about a day, and then they removed it, just like Star Boost, and so a lot of these now fetch big bucks because people are very confused about how to collect them, and they're just really hard to come by. You have to go to eBay, with the exception of the first 3, which for some reason are very easy to buy. And then lastly, we have the Mega Editions. I'm not going to say much about these. These aren't really part of the main collection because they are greatly exaggerated in both price and size. You're talking over between 100 and 160 kind of pounds for each of these now. The sales on these, though, are crazy. You can often pick them up for half price or better after like a month of being released. It's very, very odd. 10 of these were released. The 11th one was due to be Iron Man from Endgame, but it was cancelled, and we were never given any reason why, which is a real shame. And there you have it. That is everything. The collection is now confirmed by Egomos to be completely categorically over. Many European countries are now getting it restarted, as I mentioned, by D'Agostini, and they're getting 80 of these issues, and you can head to their website and kind of see which ones. I think they've announced the first 38 at the time of posting this, but it's not expected for any new characters to appear. Collectors will need to go elsewhere for anything from Phase 4 or anything from the Spider-Man films. Thank you very much for sticking with me. The link to the folder with these images in is in the description, and don't forget to follow me on Instagram, Facebook, subscribe right here on YouTube, and join the discussion group for all the latest Marvel movie collection content as well. Keep on collecting.